Adversity, bring it. The struggle, we welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 129. This is the first episode of 2023, and I'm in the booth with the big three. Michael, the show Pirelli, Claudio, the voice Valenzuela, and I am Dave, the body, in burnt orange, Regina. I have a burnt orange sweater on today. I'm not really sure how it blends in with the tan, but that is, I guess, besides the point. Michael, how the hell are you, my brother?
I'm good. I realized I didn't even take my jacket off. This is a big episode. I'm going to take my jacket off. New year, new me.
Yes, I hear you. So before we get into the topic of the day, which is going to basically be the word of the year, for the past couple of years, Mike, CV, and I, we've chosen words that we attempt to basically live by. But before we go there, we like to kind of catch up. And full transparency, we're recording this a couple of weeks prior to the drop. So if you are listening on drop day, happy New Year to you and your family. We are, I guess, now in 2023. But this is kind of tough because we were talking off air. We're still in the mentality of being excited to take a couple of days off with the family and have some holiday fun. So it's tough, but I think it'll be a good conversation on what's going on. I know that there is a major sickness going around, right, with the kids. I don't know if your children have been sick lately. I would assume, looking at your face and the bags under your eyes, that they absolutely have. Because sleep, I don't know what it is.
What is that? No Snooze. Whose idea was that to brand it? Sleep. It's that elusive character we're all chasing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting real lame in my old age, too. Speaking of New Year's Eve, a couple friends had an idea to go to a restaurant, and initially, right off the bat, I'm like, why? I'm not leaving the house. I'm on lockdown with these two kids. Yeah. Just the sheer thought of finding a babysitter stresses me out. Does that happen to you?
Absolutely. We did a fun New Year's in the house that year, right?
Which I'm down for. A little pajama party is always nice.
I agree. So Cali, man, it kind of sucked because I took off a Friday and a Monday. I just got some days that I need to, burn from work, and immediately get a phone call from the school.
I feel like they know,
right? No, but
they must know.
This pissed me off though, because the number that I'm about to tell you on this temperature was absurd. So the teacher calls and is like, "Hey, Callie's on the toilet. We just took her temperature. She's shivering and she has 106 fever." I'm like, "What?"
Say something else to make me feel better.
And honestly, I'm thinking to myself, "You're an idiot." Because you're calling me instead of like the ambulance. In my head, I'm thinking 106 is like the most astronomical number you get on a temperature, right? Yeah, it sounds crazy. But then, of course, we pick her up, and her temperature was really like 105 degrees. But apparently, I guess I don't know if it's the age thing, it's not that crazy, especially right now when there is this flu strand going around and this other, these other sicknesses. My point is, yes, it's abnormal, but it's very normal when children are sick to be at that level. Does that make sense?
Extremes,
right.
Yeah.
So for 4 days straight, she was at 106, 105, 104, then got her down to like 103.8. We were like jumping through the roof, like this is great. But we still were like, this is extremely high. Started with the diarrhea, crying all night long, talking about, oh, my belly hurts. Now I'm getting in my head thinking that it's her appendix is about to explode. Calling the doctor's like, yeah, chill out. Like,
I don't mean to laugh, but I was in the grocery store and my abdomen from some AC workouts was tight, and I thought I was going down.
You're going down?
I grabbed a loaf of bread, and it was like AC was like no carbs, and I was like,
sometimes you almost wish it would take you out, right?
Sometimes like I was like, it'd be nice to get laid up for a week.
Yo, for real, man. So it's been a rough couple days, but thank God she was able to laugh a little bit yesterday for the first time in days, and it was very scary. So I go back to work, and my couple of coworkers are like, "You don't look too rested, man. Like you just
don't you love when people say that? You think that's what I want to hear when I'm tired and someone's like, "You look tired." It's like, thanks.
You took a couple days off and you look like you're struggling. I'm like, yeah, this is what happened. But
when you're drinking Red Bulls at 10 a.m. and someone says you're tired, it's like, yeah, of course I'm tired.
And it's my third one.
Yeah, it's a second.
All right. But yeah, I mean, how the kids been? Family all right? Sickness going around or what? Or
a little sickness. We had double fevers.
Double fevers. Oof.
You know what it is? It's my fault. Me and Dana's fault. We're talking and we're like, oh, we got a nice little routine down. And as soon as we say that, sleepless night, it's, Livy doesn't want me in her bed because she wants mommy all the time. So I Monday night was in bed with her all night. I let her watch my phone, trying to like really break the cycle to try to alleviate Dana a little bit. And amazing night. I slept her all night because I couldn't get up. I was exhausted. I blinked. It was 6 a.m. She was watching my phone. I woke up at 10:30. She was still watching my phone after like 3.5 hours. I'm like, it's probably not good. Went back to sleep. Next morning, I'm like, Liv, did you have a great night with Daddy? Yeah, I liked Daddy. Comes home from school the next, that night. And I'm like, Daddy gonna sleep with you again to again break the cycle? No, I want mommy. I was like, you didn't have fun? She said, no, I want mommy. I was like, wow. Easily you forget.
I know, it's tough.
But it's good. I mean, what I can say, and I say it a million times, nothing's better than the holidays with kids, because no matter how stressed you are, and I've been a little stressed lately, as family and friends would know. I apologize if I've come off a little curt with you at any time. But the kids bring you back down to earth when they see an ornament or a snowman, or Livy was like, it's snowing. And then it melted and she's like, where'd the snow go?
But then they take that same ornament, throw it on the floor and it breaks. And then you're like, go F yourself now.
Correct. Literally Sour Patch Kids.
Right? Yeah.
So it's there's a woman on Instagram that people have been sending me, friends have been sending me reels, and she basically talks like logically about how crazy it is to like deal with a kid. She's like, what if I told you there was just like a little serial killer that you'd had to live with, and at any point they could kill you or kill themselves? Like, I'm like, wow, I never thought about that. But yeah, best time of year. I'm really looking forward to spending some quality time with family and friends, but a lot of events. Hey, do you have a lot of like work? Dana has her work party Thursday.
Yep.
Saturday or Friday, we're doing a light show. Saturday, we have a train ride. Sunday, we're doing raviolis. Like, I love it all, but it's so overwhelming.
There's a lot. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that I have a lot this year. Okay. I'm being very selective with what I am attending, but there's a couple holiday parties that are on the calendar.
The old agenda. Do you dress up for the holiday parties? Or
I am Santa Claus.
Do you dress up for Santa?
No, and actually, my daughter despises. I don't know if you saw on Instagram. My girl had a fit. She had a fit, but the whole neighborhood thought I was a little crazy because, and listen, Mohegan Lake Fire District, shout out to you guys for
incredible
putting out fires. You guys are awesome. They go around with it's the candy cane run.
Yeah,
right. So
incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So they had posted, and they go around the entire district. This is not just So they put 10 a.m. as the stop on the corner of my block. So I know that Callie gets out of dance, right? So Karina takes Callie to dance, and I'm like, well, listen, why don't you leave dance at like 9:40-ish, and they'll probably be a little late because we're like, the 80th stop of many.
Yeah.
So sure enough, it's like 9:45, and I'm waiting at this stop, and I see all the families outside, like, everybody's there, and I see the trucks coming. So I call them like, hey, where are you? She's like, oh, I'm still like 8 minutes away. I'm like, you think I can hold this thing up? Like, I don't know if I can do this. So sure enough, though, I was not able to hold it up. But what I did do,
in his house,
yeah. But what I did do, and what I was able to succeed with, is to literally pull in front of these fire trucks after they left, stop, get out of my car. Karina pulls up in the next vehicle.
Nice.
We get Callie out, and I'm like, Santa Claus, get outside. Get outside, bud. My daughter's here. Get outside. So he was very nice, and he came outside. They stopped the traffic. They had another, there was a couple other kids that ended up coming. So I think it could have been, in my defense, it could have been another stop.
Yeah.
Right? Because there were a couple more kids.
Yeah.
But if I didn't stop that car, I don't know if my daughter would have got a candy cane. So I wasn't okay
Christmas.
with that.
Yeah.
But then Santa Claus comes over. He's so nice. Hi, little girl. What do you want for Christmas? Blah, blah, blah. Which, by the way, so far we want chicken nuggets and a car. That's the Christmas list. right?
Lowbrow, highbrow.
Right? So there you go. And she just lost it.
Aww.
She sees this man, and she is petrified.
Yeah.
And we've been doing the whole Elf on the Shelf, and it's been good. We've been trying to really, coach her through Christmas and the meaning and stuff. Because last year was the same thing. She had a fit.
Yeah.
So I'm not over the fit yet with Christmas.
It's a funny scenario to like think that you possibly stopped a fire truck trying to go put out a fire.
I thought we were gonna scooch past that part because you know me so well, and you're not surprised by this behavior anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing. Like Callie baby, you're always gonna have an opportunity for dad to right the wrong because he's not afraid to stop traffic. Let's put it that way.
Oh man.
Yeah, the holidays are fun. It's you rethink things too. Like all the stories are what, like when we're watching Rudolph, I'm like, I don't remember this part.
I gotta watch that. My dad was telling me too.
Yeah, I got Livy a little toy or whatever. I call it Rudy because it's more fun. So I give it like Rudy, and Dan was like, "Oh, let's watch Rudolph." And I'm like, I don't remember any of this like random toy island and.
Well, the Elf on the Shelf we spoke about, that thing.
Fire.
I don't think it really existed, but now I'm creative. I am elite. So I put him in the sink. Hear this one out.
Was he lifting every time you wake up?
Listen to this.
Doing a workout.
I put him in the sink, and he kind of bent over like he was taking, a little
ripping,
little poop. And I put little morsels of chocolate in the sink, and she
it's good.
And she comes out, and she was dying. She was like, "Oh my God, this is so silly, Dally. This is so silly." And she puts her hand over her face, like she can't believe every night he moves.
Did you go a step further and pick up the poop and eat them?
She did. I swear to God, she was like, "I can eat that poop." I'm like, "Yes, you can, but you can't eat other poop." So I gotta be careful. If my daughter's walking around daycare and she's like, "I eat the poopies. I eat the poopies."
Did Elf make this? Yeah. It's like, no, that's a kid's poop.
So all that stuff is very, very fun.
We didn't do the Elf on the Shelf.
No, I don't think it exists. My dad was like, "What is that?" I never heard of that.
No, not us. I mean, like us this year, we're not doing it, or we haven't done it, which makes me
you don't need another headache. Because sometimes you forget. Honestly, you forget to move the thing, and then when you come up with a crazy excuse, and then I'm like, "Oh, well, that means you touched him. You're not supposed to touch him because he's magic. So that means that you touched him, and as soon as you touch him, the magic is gone, and now you have to wait a day." And she's like, "Oh,
that's pretty good,
right?
That's pretty good. You have me convinced.
That's all I
got." Unbelievable way to push product too. They know how to push product.
Absolutely.
I'm bad because like I like to tinker. Like if we're up in the morning, I like to take some jumpers. I got Livy this really cheap stickable. Remember when I blocked her shot in that video?
Yeah.
She ripped it apart, like dunked and ripped the rim off. She looks like Baby Shaq. And we got a Fisher Price one for Christmas. And I want to open it. I'm like, let's ball. Dan's like, no, you got to save it for Christmas. I'm like, well, it's here. Like, tell her Santa came early or Daddy got it.
Just drop it
off. No,
you
got to wait. So I'm still that type where if I find the presents, I'm opening them.
Yes. Yeah. Me personally, I hate surprises, but I'm okay with it if I don't know about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate people that are like, hey, I got a gift for you, but I'm not going to tell you.
Gotcha. You don't like the
Don't tell me.
Of a surprise.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I did that a couple times today, and it wasn't good. Like a surprise party. One time, I was like, "Who do you want?" She's like, "You're not." I'm like, "You don't know when it is, where it is, what it is. It's still a surprise, but I need a guest list." Which I think's fair. Like, subscribe, comment. Do you think that's fair? Is it still a surprise if you ask who they want to come to the surprise if they don't know location, event, or like specific?
So the question, I guess. So I'm trying to understand.
The surprise is not so much the party as it is what it is.
Hypothetically speaking, if I had a surprise party for you, 100%. Who would you want to come?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a terrible way to do it.
Wouldn't you rather have who you want there than me not invite some people you want there and offending them?
I mean, you should know that though, right?
Maybe not. Maybe not. I know I'm very oblivious to certain things. And you don't know, but I mean, people fall in and out of like friendship and who's friends with who, and you never know.
Right. All right.
But one thing I am looking forward to is like I don't know if this is your game plan. I try not to move a lot at these events, right? Like you go to New Year's Eve or with kids it's hard, but if you have the extra hands, I try to just sit down and see how many drinks I can get through in one spot.
That's good.
That's like my core belief.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it happens with you guys, but if we go to a party or something, Callie usually doesn't want us.
Yes.
During it, right? Because she's
which is
around.
Fine. I mean,
great.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, the problem is you can get a little intoxicated and then be like, I got to carry my kid now. Like now she wants something from me.
Yeah.
We
usually stay where at the in-laws, my parent, wherever we are, we usually stay. And once I get the okay, like, oh, we're staying, then the party's on. You know what I mean? Yep. Like Santa can still deliver a little intoxy because, reindeer have a mind of their own. So technically he's not sledding drunk. Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely. So let's slide into the topic. But first, CV, let them know where we get this protein at.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NoSnooze30. Again, that's NoSnooze30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the epi.
All right, cool. So, a quick recap, I guess, of last year. You had asked me last episode what my word was, and I knew what my word is, but I said no because I didn't want to really get into the conversation. I had it plastered on my wall. I'm sure CV sees it in my office on my whiteboard. Last year, my word was intention. I felt like I wanted to live a life that I was very intentful in all my actions that I took. The problem, looking back now, I don't know if I accomplished that goal, right? And I like the concept of choosing a word for the year versus New Year's resolutions because I feel like we as a society set ourselves up for extreme failure, especially when we haven't adopted a habit and we just move into like, oh, this portion of my life is not great. I'm going to set a goal and I'm going to go out and achieve it because, you don't even really know if that's a realistic thing for you. I have some facts here, the big factual. 41% of Americans make resolutions. 58% only make it to February.
Okay.
And 92% of us fail to achieve the goals that we set.
Yeah.
Right? Which is absolutely
100%.
100%.
I think those numbers are high.
Right. But I feel like choosing one word brings a sense of focus, a sense of simplicity, and it helps
Direction,
and it helps you minimize distractions along the way. And the intent of my word for the year and moving forward is to basically wake up, think of this word that we'll talk about later. And
you just said you don't like when people do that, and you're doing it to people. Is that for retention?
I need you to
retain me.
There you go.
Retention is our word.
Into the No Snooze podcast for the next 42 minutes.
NoSnoozeShop.com. Get your gear.
But I just feel like it's an easier way to move through life day to day versus seeing like a long-term goal. And this way you can have one word. You think about it often throughout the day, right? I'm very big on writing it down somewhere. You don't have to do that, but I have it on my phone. I also have it on my whiteboard in business, right?
I love whiteboards, but now that I work from home, Livy wants to draw and erases it. So I'm like, I guess I'm not using whiteboards.
Do you remember your word from last year?
I believe it was scale.
That's one of them, yes.
Because, the weight.
We told Mike choose one word, and of course his was speed and scale.
Well, they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
And they're multi-dimensional because I don't know if you remember the 10% body fat. A lot of scales in there, baby. A lot of scales, a lot of weighing. Speed and scale. I think I scaled up some operations. I think I did it quickly. Did I execute as best I could? Probably not. There was a lot of big life happenings towards the end of the year, so I had a lot of momentum, and then I think it kind of got crushed, and my scale really got reset because I left my company, started my own thing, so that whole growing became more of a starting over situation, which is fine. The hardest thing for me with the last year was not being stubborn. So like not saying, all right, well, because to some level in business, you have to be stubborn. In life, you have to be stubborn, else you would stand for nothing. But at some point, it just isn't, it isn't plausible anymore. Like to say it's scale and then you have to start this new thing. It's like, it doesn't really make sense. And speed, yeah, it still applies, but realistically, you want to do things right in the beginning and then you add the speed.
Right.
So for me, in the beginning of the year, it was productive, and then the theme kind of tailed off as different things came into my life. And, I liked having the theme, though, because I thought about it a lot. Something I kept telling myself is like speed kills. Maybe you don't get this listing, but at least you're in the conversation, whereas if you didn't respond to someone fast enough, you're not even in the talks, right? So give yourself an opportunity to fail, which I did a lot, and at least there's something to learn from versus no feedback.
Right.
If you never get back to someone or you take 2 weeks, it could be perfect, but you lost the opportunity, so it doesn't matter. That's how I kind of looked at last year.
I like it. So, I mean, both of us, I guess we were failures for 2022.
100%.
We were part of the 92. Well, listen, my point is if 92% of people fail their New Year's resolutions, it's got to be lower on the people that fail the words for the year, right? So
100%.
even if we've had some bad days along the way, I do know for a fact that any resolution that I would have set, I definitely thought about my one word way more.
Yes.
If that, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there was not a day that I didn't see that word, think about it, and one aspect of my life show up with intention. The problem is, as I got later in the year, there were a couple things that I did with bad intention, and I don't think that fits the, that doesn't really fit what I was working towards.
Yeah.
So you know me, the big science, the big process. Came up with
nicknames. It's incredible.
I came up with a little process that I guess caused me to get to my word. Right. So Mike likes challenges for people, especially when we put things out. So this is basically an outline for you to attempt to see if you want to join us and choose a word for your year of 2023. All right. And step one was to reflect, just like we spoke about, right? But there were certain questions that I asked myself, and I said, what could I use more of in my life for 2023?
Calves.
There you go. What could I use less of in my life for 2023? Carbs.
That's a good one.
What characteristics would I like to have in my relationships, in business, that I'm kind of lacking now?
Calves.
And then by the end of the day, right? And at the end of the year, I want to feel blank, this word. And I feel like I was able to really walk through that. And yes, I sat down and I wrote down my answers.
It's like a Mad Lib.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you take us through the answers?
What?
Can you take us through the answers?
Yeah, so if you want me, but
if it is a Mad Lib, hilarious.
but
Calves, carbs, calves.
do you want me to share my word first?
No, I want to try to guess it after we do the Mad Lib.
After we do what's a Mad Lib?
Oh my God, dude!
What is that?
It's very hard to have
It's
conversations.
is that a
when
movie?
You're under a rock.
It's a story that's missing key words.
like you just said.
So
Gotcha.
somebody will, or the kids.
Oh, you got to fill in the blank.
The kids will fill in the blank, and then they have to come up with a whole
Gotcha.
story.
So you wouldn't tell us the senses. You would just say, "I need this type of word. I need this type of," and then at the end you'd read it. And we'd giggle.
Oh, I thought like that was something that's used in like when you're getting in trouble and the adult is like, "Yo, you're giving me mad lip right now."
That's Mad Lib.
I didn't know it was a lib.
I think
didn't know
it's
it was
lib.
L-I-B.
You make me second guess more things because of the way you interpret things. And you know what? He throws me off so
Listen,
hard.
you're the big intelligence, all right?
I'm not big intelligent at all.
You have a lot of knowledge.
I'm the medium.
You have a lot of
calves.
knowledge that I don't have. But
So do you know what we're asking now? So we want you to fill that in for you, and then we're gonna guess what your word is.
okay. But this is only step one of my process.
How many?
But we could do it.
How many Mad Libs you got?
Let's do this. So, what could I use more of in my life? You want me to give you the answer?
I'm looking at your body.
I'm
Look at your
confused.
body.
Or are you trying to guess it?
No, you tell us the answer.
I give you the answer and then, but what's the point of this?
To guess the word at the
To
end.
guess the word at the end, yes.
Gotcha. But I can't use the word, so this is very hard for me right now.
Wait. Whoa,
So
whoa.
you said
Now that I know the
so,
word,
So
Yeah,
the question,
don't say
the
it.
first
Right.
question you just asked, the word that the answer is the actual final word.
no, I didn't get.
Oh, that's what
Oh,
I'm saying.
yes. The answer is
Oh.
it is.
because I'm looking back now. Right? You get what I'm saying?
we'll come back to this. This
Yeah,
is-
okay.
We're gonna have to
I
train
think
him
I know
up
what
with
you're
some
saying.
Mad Lib.
I got you.
We'll do it
Sorry,
next
sorry if we're
episode.
confusing. But then the next thing, after the reflection piece was really sitting down and being able to visualize. And reflection, I think, is different than visualizing because your reflection is based off of facts that have happened in the previous year, whereas you're now visualizing the difference and the changes that you want to make for 2023. Right? Is that a good definition of the difference between reflection and visualization?
100%.
And I feel like there was certain questions that I was asking along that line of the visualization piece of like where was I lacking in the reflection, and for me to grow, I need to visualize this certain amount of success.
Past, future.
Exactly.
Just like that whole Christmas story.
Right. So then I
Right?
yes,
Those Christmas past.
Yes, absolutely.
We watched it recently.
Mhm.
Pretty good.
So then I sat down.
You're Scrooge,
and
dude.
And this is where it's I think critical for people to begin to apply this. And it was creating a list. So I sat down, I created a list.
This guy's on theme.
I
Creating a
brought-
list, checking it twice.
I absolutely hate you. And this is something that could take you 10 minutes, right? You're creating a list of like from the questions that you've asked yourself that I mentioned before, what was the list, right? So I had I remember thrive being on that list, forgive, trust, purge,
Purge is an intense one.
lead, slow, in terms of like slowing down because I feel like I do move a little bit too fast, simplify, excellence, and elevate. those were words that I was really thinking of. And just to give you, I guess some context behind those words, I feel like I was able to review those words and refine it to like my top 3. And my top 3 for the year was purge, because I feel like I've gotten to a place now that I really do struggle with purging of old things, whether it's items, old t-shirts, something as silly as that, really cleaning out things, going back into my office files, cleaning out some, things that are over 7 years. From an archive perspective, we have to keep things for 7 years. Purging in my relationships, right? Purging the people in my life that I think were toxic to kind of the growth that I'm looking for. The next one was excellence, because I feel like when I speak, sometimes people misconstrue my attempt at chasing excellence, personal excellence, versus perfection, right? For me, perfection doesn't exist, but there's nothing wrong with continuing to chase personal excellence, right? And I feel like everything that I want to do in my life, it is at a high level, but there's a lot of things in my life right now that are not at the level that I want them to be at. So keeping that mindset of excellence in my thought process day to day really, I think, would have made a difference. And then my final word, I guess that would be, should I just tell you what it is now?
I'm dying to know. Let's take a guess. Do you want to take a guess, CV? Did you even said it yet, right?
No.
Like in any
Nope.
episode?
Mm-mm.
I feel like you'd like to be like, oh, I have some you don't know. I don't like it. All
What's
right,
yours?
What's my
What's
guess?
your guess?
Are you guessing mine?
Yeah. It's got to be some like hard to say word, because Dave loves those words. It's like I don't know.
Onomatopoeia.
You've used a lot of words though.
I know.
I would say what's another word for
Wait.
excellence? I think it's along that line. I
Okay.
think it's like uncommon or something like very David Goggins-esque. That's my guess.
So I feel like when I narrowed it down, right, this one word ties into all these other words that I spoke about.
That's what I'm trying.
Thriving, forgiving, trusting, purging, patience, leading,
Peace.
slow, simplify, excellence, and elevate.
That's
It
a lot
ties
of
into
different
that.
words.
I
though.
know, but it ties into all of it.
Peace? What do you think? Throw something out there.
Peace is good. Oh,
Peace is
wow.
a good
Well,
one.
I was gonna say calm because that's the one that I wanted.
Ooh, he just piggybacked me.
That's good.
That's like
Well,
when you
that-
guess a number and you add
if-
a dollar.
If
now
it came
why
my
you-
way, that
That
would
was
have been
good.
my word.
Calm's good.
So that's
it
good.
kind
So,
of-
and why are you saying that? I'm
Yeah,
curious.
yeah,
We could be
let's hear
transparent.
CV
Yeah,
because
we
he
could be
came up with
transparent
calm.
here.
Calm was good.
repeat your words again.
What's the origin?
Huh?
What?
What's
No,
your
I'm kidding.
origin?
He
Use it in
know
a
that
sentence,
reference
please.
either.
He doesn't.
Is that a
he
movie?
doesn't.
The big reference. You don't know any of this. It's not a movie. What is?
So those words, but that doesn't include my word. But,
Okay, go ahead, say
So
it.
it was thrive,
Okay.
forgive,
Forgive,
trust,
trust,
purge,
purge,
patience.
patience.
My echo. Lead,
Okay.
slow,
Slow,
simplify,
simplify.
excellence, and elevate.
My
Okay.
man, that's
So
a lot of words.
all the words.
Well, I made a list, bro.
So
Like,
all the
I
words
literally
that
made
that I
made a
read
list.
back, all the words that the echo came out,
Mhm.
those are the words that struck out to me, which is why all those words in my mind would bring you peace and calm, which is why when you said peace and calm, they're very much the same. So
Right.
those words to me kind of bring what I would think that you may be looking for, which is to bring some inner peace and some inner calm.
Yes,
That-
that's very.
That's
good.
my response.
shit. I like it.
The
I
big,
think I might.
The big. What's
Well, that's mine.
I think I might take it.
the philosopher over there. He's
like
good.
it.
He's very good.
And
His voice.
What
nice
about you?
voice.
Your word
You-
to me was what?
I thought it was
Peace, you
like
said?
uncommon or like
Oh.
so opposite of average. What's the opposite of average?
Not average. Above average.
What's the above average? I could see you throwing in 2 words this year.
Yeah.
I could see you be the big 2 words.
That's not part of the process. Stop it.
It's a one-word process.
Yeah. What
And
is
let me
it?
know. I'm not trying to, drag this
What
on.
do you think?
So-
Comment if you know.
Yeah. Drum roll, please, CV.
My mic was up.
I'm dying to know now.
My word for 2023 is nourish.
See, I knew it was gonna be a fucking
Right?
weird word. Pardon my
And-
French. Nourish.
Nourish. Yeah. So when I sat down, I hate you so much. Thank God nobody heard that reference right there.
That was great.
So yes, it is a word that I guess is not in your typical like.
See, did I call that?
Yeah,
I said it was
absolutely.
going to be some obscure. When's it?
He
Time
said
out.
obscure
uncommon. How
word.
does nourish?
First off, hard to
Nourish.
pronounce. Nourish. It's like, right? Second, when have you used nourish in your life in the last however many years? I don't think I've ever used the word.
Right. So that's honestly a word that I don't really utilize too
See?
much.
I knew it.
Right,
I know you.
But the outcome that I want, especially in my relationships, me as a parent, I want to take the time to nourish and invest. Invest could have been an option there, right? But nourishing really is feeding, right? And everything that I do, I really do nourish myself, right? I nourish my brain with the personal professional development stuff that I do, right? I nourish my daughter when I'm a father and I'm able to put aside all the nonsense from work, and I'm nourishing and nurturing those relationships. I want to do the same thing in business. Physically, I'm nourishing my body with the foods that I eat throughout the year. For the majority of the time, I eat pretty clean, as you guys know. So I feel like there's a lot of things that I'm already tying the nourishment into, but now I want to elevate that to the next level, right? And I feel like if that's my focus for 2023, that I can really accomplish a level of progress. But specifically in business and in my relationships, I'm looking to really nourish them for 2023.
The big nourish.
The big nourish. And, have a hell of a year. And I know it does sound a little weird, the word nourish, because it's not like you use that all the time.
If a rapper's ever used the word nourish in a song,
if, honestly,
it's so unmuscular, right?
But what if you just said rapper? Lil Nourish sounds good.
Lil Nourish is pretty good.
Lil Nourish.
Lil Nourish. Lil Nourish sounds like a guy that's like, I don't even want to go there. I don't know. I have some good.
Yo, Lil Nourish. That's not that crazy. That sounds like a rap name.
It sounds like a rapper who's in like a hospice.
Right?
Lil Nourish goes and performs for the people.
I'm the big Nourish. And the last piece, though, that I really do want to make clear, once you actually make that list, there's a very important question that you have to ask yourself. And I think this is why a lot of people fail their New Year's resolutions, right? And basically what it is you get to a point in your life that you need to be committed to things versus just interested in a concept. This is a very silly foo-foo concept if you don't apply it, right? So like, after you listen to this episode, or if you've done some research and you've seen this type of thing, Mike and I are not the first ones to be doing this. It happens all over the world, right? But are you interested in a concept like this, or are you really willing to commit to one word? And after I, ask myself that question, I do want to commit to this process for the year.
So I would like to hear, thank you for sharing, because I know it wasn't easy with that stupid word. You like that?
But as always, I mean, it's so well thought out. You have to just think,
oh no, it
listen,
makes
and
sense.
It's like, wow.
It's just a funny word. I knew it was gonna be a funny word.
I thought it was
can
gonna
you
be more
tell us your
muscular.
Mad Lib from the beginning? Because now I'm curious as to what that first sentence was. Do you feel?
What do you mean?
Do you feel comfortable in sharing?
Yeah. So what could I use more of in my life? That was the first question.
Nourish was the first word. No, I'm serious.
Yeah. So
you know what I'm
no.
asking?
So I came to the word nourish because what could I use more of in my life? And I could use. I could benefit.
But the question
from,
is, when you ask that question to yourself, what's the immediate answer?
Right. I could benefit from better relationships in my life.
Oh, so it's not a
next
one word.
part.
Can you find a one word answer for that? Benefit.
I guess.
I mean,
Anyway,
or-
go to the next one. What was
Well,
the
no,
next
because
part?
it can't
The
be a
next one was
sentence.
what could I use less of in
He
my
doesn't
life?
he doesn't play by the rules of
He
Mad
doesn't.
Lib. It's
It's all
different.
right, though.
All right, go ahead.
Toxicity.
See,
Okay.
that's one word and a funny word too.
Right.
Toxicity.
What characteristics would I like to have? Patience.
Good one.
Yeah.
Amen, brother. Hey, amen. I can get behind that word.
And then there was another one. How do I want to feel? And at the end of this is not one word, but at the end of the day, I want to have more days that are good than bad. And by nourishing these things in my life, I feel like I can get to that level.
Okay, I like it. I think that would help me if I did that, and I think I would have come to my word. I don't know what I would have used.
Right. So
But patience is a great one.
What could you use more of in your life right now?
Peace.
Peace. Okay.
Yeah.
What could you use less of in your life?
Distraction.
What characteristics would you like to have? Patience.
Calm.
Calm. How do you want to feel at the end of the day?
Light. Is light a word?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like
Yeah, just light.
not
lighter.
light.
Yeah.
Like just
But even mentally light, like I can understand that.
not
Obviously
carefree,
the scale, right?
something light on the scale. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to bulk up. It's bear season.
Yeah,
You know, baby bear season.
Yeah, and these are honestly they're good questions to ask because you don't. How often do you sit there and ask yourself questions? Like I don't really do that. I mean, I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, you're a good looking guy with some grays in the beard. But
I've asked myself a lot of
Wait,
questions.
let's
lately.
finish the big process. So you
Oh,
gave
yeah.
all the answers because
Yep.
I mean,
okay, so the next one was visualization, right?
Okay.
And if you were to think
intrigued.
of your perfect morning routine, which you have
Doesn't
pretty
exist.
much down. No, but
I
you
don't
have
have it down.
No, you have it in your head. I'm
Oh
saying,
yeah.
right? to
so far from what happens, though.
right, but
now.
to what your day looks like midday, to you coming home to the family after a struggling day of business, to then you putting your feet up at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the quarter, the end of the year, right? What do you visualize?
Yeah, for some reason I always visualize a jam-packed day where I'm calm throughout the process and going about the day very high-level situations and stressful situations, whether that's family or professionally, and not allowing things to spill over. So being able to execute in the morning on an appointment, whether that's working out for all right, perfect day, wake up, get the kids settled or whatever, get them out the door, work out, and have a time stamp for when that workout ends. And no matter where I am in that workout, it's done. If you're not efficient and you don't get it done, that's on you. It's a luxury to be able to get that done in the day. And then going into the next appointment, whether that's like showering, refocusing, nothing spills over.
Where you make appointments in the shower, you said?
I do sometimes, 100%.
Really?
I actually did work in the gym.
Did anyone catch that?
100%. I make
Said my
appointments in the
appointments,
shower.
whether it's in the shower, whether it's...
Yeah. So, for example, yesterday, which I didn't enjoy, I worked in the gym. Like, I had my laptop set up. In between sets, I was getting work done because I was trying to catch up.
Which I struggle with that too, man, and I feel like we need to
It's
do less
terrible
of that.
because I was inefficient.
Yes.
I got it done, which alleviated some pressure. But in my head, I'm like, it probably would have took me half the time if I just did my workout and got to the next thing.
Right.
But it's hard for me to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of what I want to be, is to be able to not shut it off, but refocus, little hint, to the next task and knock out that task and then go to the next thing and leave less unfinished.
Do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like your word, and I don't know your word yet.
It is.
But it
That's
sounds
the word.
like your word is routine. It
I
sounds
know,
like you're
no.
yearning for some
So
good routine.
unfortunately, as much as I would love to have a routine and I got it pretty good down pat in the past, the reality is it's not happening.
It's not
No,
very realistic.
what you're saying though is almost like yearning for a routine.
Well,
You
I'm
want
sure
it
his
to-
less
word.
of a
I'm sure his
routine.
word will tie back into some sort of routine.
Yeah, it's not so much routine as it is being able,
Comfortable
like
routine.
mental clarity of doing tasks that are unrelated. So like being able to switch between something personally for myself to then something for a client to then something for my family.
Which happens all day long, right?
So in a perfect world, I like to block it out so like I could do what I need for myself in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example. But in my reality now, that can't happen.
Right.
Mike Pirelli's routine though isn't like regimented reg routine. Like your routine,
He finds
involves,
routine in the chaos. Though.
Yes, like you like
I'm
that
trying.
chaotic kind
I
of
don't
like
like it.
environment.
I really
you
don't.
just want to be able to go through all of that chaos in a smooth, calm manner, which in essence that is your internal routine. You want to not be bothered by certain things. Where I think that Dave, in his routine, he finds that peace and that calm and that thing that kind of levels him out, because it brings him that I think that security.
Yeah.
For you that's not you. You like chaos. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't.
No, you do. You embrace it because you look for it in
That's a
every
good thing.
possible
Embracing
way.
chaos. I don't know if he likes
Yeah.
it. Though.
I don't like
You
it.
embrace no, but you look for it. I mean,
In
at the
the
end of the day, you
past-
could very easily have a very cushy job.
I think he
that's
subconsciously
safe.
does that though.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize the
working
risk
on it.
that he takes puts you in a position of potential chaos.
So
right?
so you're
But-
pressing me, so I'm gonna give you the answer now.
No.
No, no.
Wait, let's create a list though.
I
This is
can't
step
do a
3.
list. Too
Come
many
on, give me a
words.
list.
I don't
give me
have
a
that many
list. Give me a list for 3 words.
I ain't Chris Kringle.
3
right,
three
go ahead.
potential words.
3 words.
Yeah.
Um,
And one of them can be
Clarity.
the word. Okay.
Wait. Hold on. Do not say them out. Like think of them first. 'Cause
That's what I'm
you're
doing.
supposed to guess one of the 3.
What?
he
You
knows
s-
my
I know the
answer.
word.
I wrote
Oh,
it.
my
I
bad.
texted it, didn't I? Or I texted it to myself.
Okay.
Structure. Presence.
Like
not presence.
opening up
Not
the pre-
opening. Presence.
Gotcha.
To be present.
And now is those 3 words is not inclusive of your word.
No.
Right.
But the word, like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
relates to all of it, and it all stems from this one thing that has been something I've struggled with since I'm a young boy.
Okay.
People
So now
would
let
say-
me
Repeat it
ask
one
you
more
this
time.
Big banger.
I
Repeat
don't
it one more
remember
time.
what I said.
Clarity,
structure, and presence.
presence. Okay. So now the big question.
Nourish.
the big Q here is after you've done all that thinking, right? Your word that you've come up with.
Have you seen the documentary about the therapist guy?
I was
It's
just gonna
great.
ask you a question.
It's great. Have you seen it?
No.
It's called Stutz.
Oh, am I
Stutz?
the therapist?
No, yeah, you're kind of acting like him.
Oh.
He's good,
Well,
but it's let me. I just don't want to forget this. It is Jonah Hill's therapist, and he's got Parkinson's or something. But he talks to his therapist and asks him about his processes. You would love it. All about processes.
all about process.
That's all it is. It's literally this dude talking about his processes.
So what's crazy, now that you take us on this tangent.
No, this is good because it relates
it's
to
okay.
my word.
No, I get you.
I'm
I
giving you
get
an example of what I need to work on.
I hear you. But also,
Hint.
if you have not,
Nourish
have
that.
not checked out the podcast where Mike's guy, Rob Dyrdek,
Oh, I love him.
and Dave Regina's guy, Ed Milet, linked up for a podcast. And the main thing that Rob Dyrdek, I didn't understand. Now
He's a genius.
His level of everything that he does is so elite now. But he said every single moment in his life and every single thing that he does
Very
has
Dave.
a process or a system.
Yeah.
I fell in love.
And he scores every day.
Yo, I literally fell in love because I'm like, for you to get to that level, you continuously get more things thrown at you, right? But he's so obsessed with the concept of time, like we always talk about.
Yeah.
But he's like, the only way to really achieve that fulfillment is to be able to have a process in place for every single thing in your life, because you couldn't get to that level in chaos.
So this adds to my point too, is I always idolized him. So what I'm doing now, and I've done in the past, are things that have been his downfall, and he explains in the interview. I don't know if he said it in the Milet one, but in other ones, he basically explains like he was doing a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And he was doing it well, but there was no type of intent. I'm not going to use my word yet. I'm holding out. On what he actually wanted to create the result he wanted to. There was no path. So he was just kind of like doing a lot, doing it well, but getting drained and like being spread very thin.
Right.
And then once he figured out like, all right, well, I have to learn these things. It's not going to be easy, but I need to really like narrow in on what I want to do. Then he kind of took off. It was later in life, but I really, growing up, loved the Fantasy Factory. I loved Robin Big. I loved how he had his tentacles and everything because he loves to create. What I'm finding in my older self is I enjoy the process of creation and less about execution, unless it's a certain core thing that I want to work on. So that's what I'm working on now, is when given the opportunity to create, I have to basically tell myself, no, you haven't executed on these other things you created. So it's like having, kids, adult, like you can't just create them. Like you have to nourish them.
I love it. But
I have a hard time using that word. Nourish them and cultivate it to grow it and scale it. So his story really resonates with me because it's something that I identify myself as a weakness and something that has caused me frustration for as long as I can remember getting any type of like creation or business going. I've struggled with my whole life.
Right. Yeah, I never knew, and this was an ignorance on my part though. Like I always just associated him with being a clown.
Yeah.
I never really associated him with being a process-oriented, systematic dude the way that he is, and I was absolutely
Blown
away by him. And
Isn't
just
it awesome though when you see somebody that you don't even
Yeah.
see as that person,
Yes.
and then when you really find out, it's like, wow, this
for example,
everything was thought out.
His
Everything
thought
was
process.
planned.
You get at me sometimes, right? For being almost too structured with things. Like I've been very open about my structure when it comes to downtime. Like if I have a night out, it's on the calendar. Like I know what it is. So people will almost say, yeah, but that takes away because you have to have a serious thought to have some fun. I listen to Rob Dyrdek, and he's like, like for example, in my relationship with his wife, who happened to be the most influential person when it came to his personal development. She's like she's at a very high level when it comes to personal development. And he said, what started out as a Friday night pizza night, he's like, well, now I've become obsessed. So like, how can I free up time on Thursday to do something else with her? How can I free up time on a Tuesday to do XYZ with her? How can I have a sushi night? And he's like, before I knew it, I was able to schedule time with my wife every single day because his process became so much greater.
Mm-hmm.
He went from, I believe, recording one episode a week on the show Ridiculousness. Even I know that show. To a process to where he's able to record, I believe the number was like 360 episodes a year.
Yeah.
In the same amount of time
Yeah. To be
that he's
Wait,
had.
do you have
You get what I'm
that
saying?
process?
What?
Does that process get revealed? Like how?
Oh, he talks about it.
obtained
Yeah,
that?
He talks about it, but he basically breaks his day down and he's like, well, in my travel time, where was the 15 minutes that I could find here? We have 45 minutes to record, so really all I need to do is break it down to free up 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, 15 minutes in the evening time, put them together, now I can record an episode. So he's able to now record 6 episodes a day and only record a couple days a month versus recording consistently every single day. It was wild.
He's a beast.
Conversation.
It was wild.
He's a beast. And it's
I have a guess, by the way. Can I guess? Or is it not time for guessing?
Oh wait, no. So let me ask you
Yeah.
this question, right? Before you told me about the.
I was going to give you another example.
I
There's
think,
another.
I, think
go
I
ahead.
have an educated guess.
There's
ready to go.
another
hypothesis,
So
if you will.
I've been obsessed with
hypotenuse.
I've been obsessed on the Deer Deck narrative. I've been obsessed with stand-up comedians because I think they do a really good job of having everything planned out, but making it feel very organic. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like they're kind of magicians in a sense where if you go see a show, you're like, oh, it's like off the cuff, but then you realize like they've done it a million times,
Right.
which I find very interesting. And they operate as their own business, all of them. There's no like, big firm that runs it.
Why is your hand on your face?
I don't know,
Like,
because
when
I'm
I put
itchy.
this as a clip. What are you?
You like that?
Go ahead.
Don't use it as a clip. And there's a guy, Bert Kreischer, who, if you see him face value, he's a party animal and whatnot, but he's super strategic.
Like Dan Bilzerian.
And he jokes and he's like, I'll be honest, in college, I played baseball my whole life and I was a goofy guy, got along with everyone. But I thought to myself, like, all these people are upselling themselves playing baseball. And then we got on the field and it was softball. And I dominated, and everyone was like shocked how good I was. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to underpromise from now on the rest of my life. So I've kind of played the happy-go-lucky guy, and in the background, I know what the hell I'm doing. So I'm like, it's an interesting. I've never thought of it that way,
Yeah.
which is the opposite versus like coming off as very like,
I know. I have my shit together.
yeah, as more as like, I'm trying to figure it out, and then you operate, and people are like, oh, so like the Deer Deck thing, he comes off as very lighthearted, happy-go-lucky, peaceful, but then you realize he created that. Because he works so hard on the back end,
Right.
which is an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No. I mean, he really intrigued me to. I was so locked into this interview.
he's good.
It was.
He has a real estate one. You should
I
listen
didn't
to.
realize
Where
how.
can the viewers find this interview?
The big
Apple
YouTubes.
Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify,
And this is,
the Ed Milet show featuring Rob Dyrdek.
Yeah. And his interviews with
incredible.
all of his shows are great. I mean, they're
Who?
he interviews. He's been interviewing everywhere.
Who? Ed?
Deer Deck.
Oh, yes.
Ed too. But
Well,
Deer Deck's
no.
recently.
But so Ed Milet now has taken a different approach. That he was the one always being interviewed by people. So he did his rounds. He did
Now
his
he's
like,
interviewing
tour.
people, yeah.
And now he's at his level.
Yep.
And he's interviewing people that are at that level and
Yeah.
above, which is great. But I'm telling you, man, phenomenal info. Definitely check that out. So my question to you was before we got distracted, if that's your word.
That's my
Is
fault.
that your word?
Well,
The big distraction.
Well, you guys should be able to guess the word now.
Are you
Oh, wait, can I get my guess?
interested?
We're keep derailing him.
Are you?
This is the most fun I have on this podcast is interrupting Dave before he can get his thought out.
Are you interested in your word, or are you committed to your word? When you look at the things you're lacking in your life.
I need my word. I need my word, else I will not survive. I will implode if I don't figure this out this year. There's an urgency and a yearning of desperation to figure this word out this year.
So interest or commitment?
What?
The question still stands.
Yeah, commitment.
No, he said I need. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
like
yeah,
he's
I mean,
committed.
I'm 100% committed.
So
Well,
you're-
that's
you're
when
in.
I think real commitment happens.
You have to.
When you get to a level where you're like, I need this in my life. I
don't
no
know if-
longer
so-
want it.
Yeah, I don't
Does
even know if it's a
commitment-
level. It's more of a mental strain that I can no longer like manage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does commitment mean plan?
What do you mean?
Like if you're committed to something, do you
Yeah.
plan it out?
Yes.
So are you planning things out?
It's already in execution currently.
Ooh.
It is.
Hey, there you go.
Results, not a ton yet, but we're working on it. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I feel so just with this word, which I'll give.
Everyone's like,
I'm
Mike,
ready.
tell me the
I'm ready to
word.
guess. Can I guess? I think I got it.
You should be able to get it, but the lack of it has made me so not myself in the last 5 months, 6 months, whatever it is, this last half year, where it's hurt my, like, I'm so mentally drained from fighting it that it got to a point where in a lot of things in my life, you got to figure it out because I can't keep doing it the way I've been doing it because mentally it does not work.
Your word is Jesus. You need Jesus.
I need Jesus. I need Jesus and all of his apostles at this point. However many there are.
The big Jesus for 2023.
The big J. It's not even a J, it's a J,
Jesus. So
but-
you need Jesus in your
I
life.
need
That's
Jesus.
clearly what this.
Can you imagine if it was like church? It's my word.
Yo, hey,
Church.
listen, you don't know what could happen. CB,
No.
guess
Ready for
what?
my guess? I'm like itching.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
Is it focus?
It's focus.
Oh, wow. But I feel like you heard that upstairs, so it kind of takes.
Did I
back.
say it upstairs?
you
I don't
did.
think I said it.
Oh, you did?
Mhm.
No, I didn't say it.
That was a bad introduction to the word.
I did.
You need a drum roll, please.
No, that's just. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
if
he
you-
introduced that. I kind of blew a spot.
And compared to nourish, I mean, focus.
Focus is beautiful.
It is
That's
good.
cool.
It is
It's a
good.
movie was named after which you haven't seen.
Focus.
Yes.
It's a movie with Margaret Robbie
Oh,
and
I'm thinking of Dylan.
right. I'm getting offline.
Yeah,
All
there
right,
you go.
let's say
Focus, Michael. Focus.
I've talked about in the past, like doing less integrates with that. Saying no to stuff where I can't focus. Doing things that take away my focus and my priority. So right now, my priorities are like get the business going, be a good father, and support system to Dana, and like that's it. Like I'm not trying to add anything to my plate. I'm trying to be a good partner to the No Snooze podcast. Like my commitments I have now, I'm very fulfilled by and enjoy, and there's a purpose for all of it, and there's a benefit that I'm directly mentally and physically receiving, and hopefully I'm giving as well. And when given the opportunity, the person who loves chaos, the person who loves a full plate, who loves challenging themselves, loves getting overwhelmed, is kind of burnt out. So now it's less of a growth mindset and more of a like efficiency, mastery mindset, right? Like it's less of like I want to add more things to more like I want to dominate what I have on my plate, and then I can refocus about like adding things or scaling those things. Like
Right.
it's a step back from the previous year.
I agree. Good.
Have you figured out what to do, how to counteract when you lose focus?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is document it all so there's no debate on like if things get done, and things that don't get done that are important means I didn't focus on doing them because they're very manageable.
But that's after the fact, right?
No, so like my goals, right? Like sending them one mailer to each of my target farm markets a month, like that's very doable. If I can't get that done in a month, it means I'm spending time on something stupid. So trying to make my goals very black and white versus I'm trying to grow the company. That's a very gray goal.
So are you talking about focus in the big picture or focus in your everyday life?
Focusing on my everyday life.
will make the focus of the big picture.
I'm focusing
Well, yeah,
Saying
but
less
I mean,
on
the
the big
example you
picture.
gave was kind of big
So-
picture.
No,
So I'm
well-
thinking like if in the moment you're supposed to maybe do mailers
Yeah.
and then your focus gets distracted by something else and you don't do the mailers right now and you kind of put it off. That's what I meant by
Yeah,
my
yeah.
question.
So
This
yeah,
is
it's a good
exciting.
question.
I like it, and correct me if I'm wrong. And I believe you have so much experience, in a good way, in the exact opposite
Yeah.
of this approach.
It's hard.
Because when you and I have spoke, even on the podcast, you're very big picture, which I think makes you you.
Yeah, but it's
Right?
been a downfall.
But you've also experienced. I mean, you always give the yacht analogy, right? Like, for me, my process to get the yacht,
I don't like boats.
I need to figure out, how to just even get my damn license. Whereas Mike is like, let's go walk on the yacht, let's feel it. Like it's very big picture. And I think you've gotten to this point because of your optimism and
Yeah.
your positivity and the approach that you take to reap the big picture. But I also do think, and I've maintained this pretty much, since I believe you've known me. When you figure out these lanes that you have, you being focused and having the intention on the very next thing that you can do, which will ultimately get you to that big picture, but you can't even start to really think about it until you get that one little thing done.
Yeah.
Right. And the concept of these mailers and all these things, this is you now like stacking these small wins, which I believe really provide success long term.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure. Like I think I appreciate that. I think my downfall, not even downfall, like my growth has been mostly in big picture brand, establishing a brand, like less sales, less generating income. It's come with it. Like I've done fine and achieved some goals. But now that it's my own company, it's day to day, it's the grind of 2 kids, there's less time involved. You're forced to work on the dirt versus like the clouds, as people say. So like I'm back in the dirt as deep as I can go, starting from scratch with the everyday things, because I didn't skip those steps, but I was so removed from it 10 years ago when I started real estate and I had to do those things that I was just getting by because of my branding, because of my big picture stuff, and wasn't doing the day-to-day things that will really set you apart and are like you can measure those. Like, yes, you could do it without them, but for what I want to do and how I want to execute, I need to do them. So that realization of like, all right, that's great what you did, but at this phase in your career, you have to get back to the basics, which we've talked about, and you have to basically start over doing the correct things in addition to keeping everything going on the high level, right? So I'm not abandoning ship on the branding, but the only way you establish these things is if you execute. And my execution and my focus has been lacking the last, I mean, there's excuses for it for sure. You start a family, you get, you do renovations. It's not a bad thing, but the realization is like, all right, well, a lot of that stuff's great and we have a great thing going, but at the end of the day, you got to do this. So that's where I'm coming out. And then focus also with the personal life, like just being in the room. And the only way I can be in the room at things is if I have my professional life taken care of and organized and focused. Because when you don't get that done, it spills over. What I was talking about earlier, right? And the spillover is what gives me anxiety, stresses me out, makes me not present, which compounds the stress. Because then it's like, what are you doing on your phone? Why are you on the phone? You know, which is rightfully so. Like if I'm at a family party and we're having dinner, I shouldn't have my phone out.
Oh, you were talking about that type of room and spillover. I thought you were talking about like you're in the gym and you spilled
Everything,
your protein
all of it.
shake.
Oh yeah, but
I call the room the gym. You know.
So, yeah, that's true.
No, it's a very good.
So that's
How does it
kind of
feel to get derailed?
Exactly. That's
No,
what
it's
I was
good.
doing.
So
it's big.
biggest thing is to say no to stuff. Like I've had to say no to so much more than I've ever said no to before, and like being intentional to a level of like guilt.
Yes,
is tough.
One thing that helps me focus, honestly, in the day-to-day of things. Take No Snooze Podcast for example, right?
Red Bull.
Red Bull. We we have a system down that is definitely, a process. We've had growth proven by data, by listeners, by feedback, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, you don't feel that when you're doing the day-to-day grind, right? It still takes time for us to get on Instagram and, make these reels and these posts. But for me to stay focused, I always evaluate it when we're at our best product. Right. So we've spoke about in the past not making emotional decisions, right? Because I'm sure there's times all three of us in this have been like, listen, this is a headache. Like you got to come record, see, we got all this equipment to, I got to travel an hour here. You got to travel here. It's a lot. But at the end of the day, for me, for myself to stay focused, I ask myself a simple question. And it's like, do I see a bigger picture here? But also, does this bring me fulfillment? And every single time I walk back to the car after a conversation here, I feel so much better than when I walked in.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm chasing, right? But that level of focus is very important to ask yourself that question. Because if there's things in your life that your hands are in and they don't really bring you fulfillment and there's more stress than happiness there, you have to weigh options, especially as fathers, if you're in relationships, if you have a spouse, if you're just building your life. This is a very simple question that you need to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you.
No, I know.
In the camera.
Yeah.
You need to nourish us. That's
He's
what you need to
nourishing
do.
me.
Nourish us, please.
I love the clip where you said this fucking weird word. No, CV. And what was your? I know you said it before. Your word for 2023.
My word is calm.
Calm. I like it. You know what's funny?
It's a big philosopher.
Yeah. So we've been seeing our professional worlds colliding with the podcast from time to time, right? I know when you're out selling houses, they're like, wow, Mike, you look a lot bigger on the screen than you do in person. And then even for me, there's been so many times that like, oh, I heard your podcast. I'm like, wait, you listen to this? So anyway, we were talking about the college tours. right? And somebody reached out,
Well, yeah.
Andrew Marullo of Southern Connecticut State University, said, listen, I love what you guys are doing with the podcast. Now I kind of want to, be part of, a tour for the kids that you guys serve. So CV sits behind the camera, right? And I don't realize how much, I guess, we talk about him on the podcast and how much he jumps in. So I wrote back to Andrew via email, and I'm like, hope all is well, blah, blah, but like, yeah, Mike and I are great, but like CV's really the brains behind it. He's like, oh, I know exactly what it is. I know exactly what's going on. So it's cool to see, everything kind of.
Is that Andrew Marullo from Costco?
Yeah, from your neck of the woods, man. But I just, when was the last time I spoke to Andrew?
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying?
It is funny when you like run into people.
Yeah.
And then I was showing a house, and I'm like, how did you find? I always ask, and they said, oh, we listen to the podcast, and I know Dave, and I'm like, what a small world.
Listen, man. Oh, all right, this was good.
I'm drained.
Drained. That's a good word for 2023. And listen, if you're really struggling for a word, we'll let you have two, and your motto should be no snooze.
Ooh.
It applies to everything in your life. I think you should adopt it.
I'm trying to snooze more.
And again, man, like, no snooze has become such a thing just for me. Because I see that alarm and it's the first thing, and you're like, I'm absolutely not snoozing on my life. Doesn't mean that I'm not sleeping. Well, even though I'm a parent and there's nights that you get a lack of it. But not snoozing on your life is a very important mentality that I feel like we've all really adopted. And I feel like the listeners are too, which is a pretty cool thing.
I feel like it's a sick joke that we started this brand and now we're never sleeping.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
it is. It's coming back to bite us. So this will bring us to my favorite section, the very first of 2023.
Oh, I thought you were changing
It's
the
a
name.
heater for Dave's Dime of the Week.
Dimes. Chances it's Dave's quote.
No, we're switching things up in 2023 here. I do wish I had the prompter, so like you can't see
you are
me.
very high maintenance.
Me reading this. I know. Mike, can you hold this off camera so I can
hold it?
so
I can hold
read
it. I got
No,
long
it's all right.
arms.
Every
60-inch.
moment is a fresh beginning. Life's not about expecting, hoping, and wishing. It's about doing, being, and becoming. I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past.
Damn. It's like a book.
Dave's dictionary.
all of 10 pages.
Good thing this is Twitter.
Mike's yawning over there, fucking off air. CV is like, "Oh, stop yawning into the mic." But no, I mean,
That was a
honestly,
good quote.
the concept of that
Wait,
Who said
who
it?
said it?
is I don't know.
David.
Sorry, guys.
I'm Regina.
Sorry, guys.
Some person heard that and it was like, that's my quote.
But I feel, very strongly about this. Like we hope to do things, we want, we wish, we blah blah blah. It's really about like becoming intentful with the actions and making things happen. You're not always going to be in the best season of your life. And I've been going through some things personally in 2022 that you guys know of, that the listeners may not be onto. But there's a period where I believe now that anything that you don't just have to go through things, you can really grow through them. Right. And the times that Mike is speaking now on some challenges of building a new business while being a father of two, well, Libby's a little older than two, but two young kids, the challenges that come with being in a relationship and a marriage, and all while you're building this up, you're not just going through it, you're growing through it. And into 2023, I know that you're going to nourish and focus on every single thing that you and myself that we're doing. And if you're listening to this, we appreciate all of your feedback, all of your shares, all of your support, whether you listen one time or 129 times now. We thank you guys, and we hope that this episode has brought you some value. Join my church. I'll open it in a couple of years.
Philosopher.
Dave Osteen to the rescue.
Dave Olstein.
Next year, my word is going to be Jesus.
This should be Olstein.
I thought your word was going to be Dave, bro. I'm serious. Anything else before we close out? Listen, if your order got held up, I'm sorry.
I'm Dave.
I'm sorry. We switched the credit card over, so if you're on NoSnoozeShop.com,
It's working.
it's working now.
And let's finish up. Let's go burn that sweater and let's go.
Good. So happy New Year to you and yours. We're going to go catch some Z's here from the lack of it.
Seriously.
So until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
Jesus is my word of next year.
That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Come on.